Hello and welcome to Tell Me About Your Book. My name is John Christian. Today my guest is self-published author Michael Welch. He has written a book of short stories, but he is also a member of a collective called Writing Bloc, where he has curated several other books. As a bonus, he will be talking about two books that his wife has written. Sounds like a busy show, so stay tuned. Hi, Michael. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, John. I appreciate you having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Now, we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of things. You wrote one book, you curated another one. I think you're also going to be speaking about a couple of books, shouting out to your wife, who wrote a couple of books herself. You're a
That's
busy
right.
person.
I try. I've immersed myself in a writing community that is Writing Block. So yes, it's made me a busy man for a couple of years.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Which part of your life would you like to talk about first?
Well, I'll talk about my book, Enantiodromia Collected Stories first. So that is the one that I have self-published through Amazon, and it has it's actually been very well reviewed. It's a pretty short book. It's only about 110 pages, and what it is a collection of short horror stories. Um, I give a definition of enantiodromia, which is a Jungian concept, basically meaning uh, the longer that you stay in the black, eventually you're going to turn into the white. You, if you're a teetotaler your entire life, there's going to be some part of you that eventually wants to just go on a bender, and in fact will go on a bender, no matter how short that bender may be. So it's basically saying that no thing is just white or just black. There's going to be a point at which you flip over to the other side, the dark side, the light side, whichever. So that being the title and kind of the an indirect theme for the collection. There are five stories. The first one is Turning of the Bones, which is about a spirit that's longing to be repatriated to his bones in Madagascar so that he can finally be at peace. The second one is The First and Last Drink of Ilona Odd, and that is a story of a gentleman who goes to a bar. Um, he's actually a sober person for about 10 years, and he goes to a bar to meet with a hitman, and he finds that there's more spirits there than are just the ones behind the bar. Then there is You Might Get It, in which a drunk and grieving widower um, has his wish fulfilled, and it's not exactly what he wanted. Then there's Tuesdays with Morandarth, which features a very famous horror writer with suspiciously familiar initials, which are SK. And he is enthralled to a demon that granted his wish of fame and fortune, but now he's trying to get himself out of that arrangement, and of course things don't go well. The last one is Peta Laruba Babkama, which is actually Sumerian for open the gate. Um, People who would come to the gate of Babylon would have to say a certain phrase that was Peta Babkama Laruba, and then there's a few more words, but it meant open the gate so that I may enter here. And that is the story of a 4,000-year-old slave girl from that time frame who has lived up until now, although we don't really join the story in the present. It's being told from the present, but it's a story of her emancipation from a life of not just the slavery, but some kind of home abuse there at the hands of the family. And she finds a way out, but it's not what you might think.
Yeah.
Now, Turning of the Bones is the one I'm most particularly proud of. It made the top 10 of the 2021 Launchpad Pros contest for fiction. So it made it all the way into the top 10 with presumably hundreds of entries. It has just received universal acclaim from folks. And so I've even had a reviewer go as far as to say that they thought maybe I was of Malagasy or Madagascar heritage myself, which
Hmm.
I'm not. Um, it has been expanded to a 20,000 word novella length, which I am currently waiting to hear back from a small publisher about, although they are affiliated with a large publisher. It's Tor. And I am also in the process of working with an artist, Mr. Tom Rolland in Scotland, who is working with me to turn the 20,000 word version into a graphic novel.
Mm,
That's very exciting. We are working on that, and
I see.
regardless of what the publication turns out to be, we're going to try to release that and
Mhm.
shop that around.
I see. And you have a lot of connections through the collective that you work with.
Right, Writing Bloc. Yes, we are an indie writers collective, and we were established, I want to say about 2016, 2017. We have published a few novels, 4 or 5 anthologies, 2 of which I've curated. One of them is Family, which was an anthology based on the theme of family, loosely interpreted, multi-genre, about 24, 23, 24 authors. And then Passageways. Passageways wasn't just a themed anthology. What I did was I collected 9 stories, 9 short stories from authors who have novels in established universes of their own. So the idea is to get people to enjoy a short story so much that they track down these other novels from these authors because they enjoyed the world that they inhabited so much.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a community, in other words.
It is. We have, oh boy, I don't even know how many members, but we have a good 50 very active members, I would say.
Mhm.
Um, Between 20 and 30 that regularly will work with us when we do a call for an anthology. We're going to be expanding for future anthologies. What we had done before is kind of keep it internal a bit within Writing Bloc, but I believe that our next anthologies are going to be kind of open call to the entire world, and then we'll kind of whittle them down from there based on the quality of the stories. So a
Mhm.
little bit less exclusive in that sense. But we've published 5 novels from G.A. Finocchiaro. He is the author of Grace Falls and others set within the same universe. We have published recently Stoneheart, which is women's literature by Susan K. Hamilton, who herself was an established author before coming through us. My wife, Aly Welch, we published her short story collection, Silly Little Monsters. And then last year we published her debut novel, A Better Me. And we will be publishing in May of 2023 an indirect sequel to A Better Me called Drama Queen. It's set in the same universe. It doesn't really share a whole lot of characters, but it's a shared universe,
Mhm. I see.
and
So,
that'll be pretty exciting.
right. So Writing Block, is that a new concept because of the situation we have with so many indie writers now, much more so than we did have, say, 20, 30 years ago?
I don't know of another collective that's run or organized the way we are. I'm not one of the founders. I've been involved since very early in the beginning, but I only became one of kind of the leadership team in the last 3 years or so during COVID. Um, I don't know of any other collective like it. Normally, what you get is when it comes to indie presses, is you get one person that's the strongest personality, and he decides he's going to become a publisher, and things are going to be done his way, and he names it and calls all the shots. Even if he has a staff, it's still kind of his baby. Writing Block is not very strict. First thing we existed for was to basically provide a forum not a literal forum online, but basically a set of resources for indie authors where they could meet like people online, obviously, share ideas, share help for each other, a true collective. Some of
Hmm.
us have strengths. I have strengths with marketing, for example. I'm very comfortable with marketing. Not a lot of authors are. Some
It's
authors
true.
are shy as church mice. One of our authors, Caitlin Platt, she is the artist for Family and Passageways, and she's a fantastic graphic artist, but she's a great writer too.
Hmm.
And she works in marketing, so she's currently doing just a ton of work with marketing. Our primary editor, Carrie Dubiel, she is a writer herself. She has multiple books that are out there, but she does the all the copy editing tirelessly. Um, so everybody's kind of doing the best of what they can do, what they are good at, and contributing to the overall benefit of the entire group. The whole is greater than the
I
individuals,
guess
and
so.
so
Yeah.
far it has absolutely, I think, worked. Like I said, we have published multiple novels, multiple anthologies.
Now, when you say publish, are you still doing it through indie publishing style, like say Amazon or
Right, Amazon and Ingram Spark.
and Ingram
Uh,
Sparks?
right, and that is something that Carrie and Caitlin and Gino, I'm sorry, Ga Finocario, they all work very closely. Gino does a lot of our typesetting and formatting within the books.
Yeah.
Caitlin tends to be the cover artist, layout, design of the outer thing. Um, Carrie has done a lot of work in terms of getting it actually published through either Ingram or Amazon, those portals, dealing with, all the things that come with that. But one nice aspect I'd like to bring up, like for example, with Family, the editing process, what we did was we broke the 23, 24 authors into groups of about 4 people or so, and they group edited each other's things. And then we kind of turned those 4 or 5 groups into just 2 big groups. And then we did another round of editing. And then once all of that was done, then it went to our copy editor, Carrie, for the ultimate edit. So we truly all worked together on the content of the story. It wasn't just one person saying, okay, change this and this and this and this, and then your story's good. It, these authors were all getting feedback from close to 20 other people on their story before it was published.
Now, you said your wife has written a couple of books. You briefly mentioned them. You want to elaborate a little bit more for her sake on that?
Sure, sure. I'm very proud of my wife. I know this is supposed to be about me, and I've dominated it with writing Bloc, but I'm very proud of my wife, Aly. Who just in the last few years really just ramped up the writing machinery in her brain and has started pushing out some really good stuff. Her first book was Silly Little Monsters Collected Stories, which is a collection of 9 short stories. A lot of them are set in the same internal universe. There are characters that kind of wander in and out of all of her stories in this collection. So they're a shared universe in and of themselves. It's a little less realistic in terms of the magic or the elements to it than her novel series, so it's a little more fantastical, but it's young adult or young reader as they call the genre now. So it's definitely PG-13 or TV-14. Her first novel is A Better Me, and that tells the story of a young production assistant who encounters kind of this very strong individual with a strong personality, and then finds that her identity has been stolen in a very unique and fantastical way, and has to work to get it back. And then Drama Queen, which will be coming out around Memorial Day of 2023. Uh, again, functions within the same universe, same rules as A Better Me. It's a different cast of characters. This one revolves around some folks that are working on a Broadway production. So there's still kind of a entertainment industry aspect to it as well. I found myself going through a better me very swiftly. There was no part at which I was kicked out of the book because of the plot just not making any sense or plot holes or anything. There was nothing that pulled me out of the book, which I found to be pretty amazing for a debut novelist personally.
Great. The two of you must be very happy being so creative.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's very
great.
nice being the second best writer in my household. I like that.
Excellent. With everything that you've talked about, is there any way you could give me an idea about what your sales are like overall and how healthy your company is?
No.
No?
um, I I I personally don't get into the how many of this we've sold, etc. I will say that we're not talking about thousands of books.
Right.
We are talking about hundreds of books. Now, would I like us to sell thousands? Absolutely.
Sure.
Um, I think that if we did sell thousands of books, then it would be a situation where people would be joining Writing Block and kind of waiting for 3 months to go by so they could be like, hey, by the way, okay, I got to know you guys. Here's my
Yeah.
book.
Right. Of course.
Um,
Of course.
so it is still a labor of love, but we're not losing money. All the money that gets made off of sales gets put right back into the coffers of Writing Block so that we can develop whatever the next thing is. Be it an anthology or an individual's novel. So
Hmm. Well,
um,
I've been doing art for a long time. You see behind me all the music gear.
right.
This sounds just like an indie band to me, you know?
It absolutely is, and it's an indie writer collective in the truest sense.
Yeah. Super. Well, I'm really glad to have met you, Michael. And
Thank you, John.
yeah, it's been a pleasure talking with you and real eye-opening stuff. I'll have to
You as
check
well.
out your website and check out your Facebook group. And who
Yes.
knows, maybe I could help contribute as well.
That would be fantastic. We'd love to have you, John.
All right. You take care of yourself now.
All right, you too, John.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
And that's our show for today. If you like what I do here on Tell Me About Your Book, then please hit the like button and subscribe. And don't forget to ring that bell for future notifications. And if you are a self-published author, I would really like to speak with you. Until such time, keep on writing and be kind to one another.